Hey, Johnny, remember that homeless man named Frank you met last month?
Yeah? What about him?
Well, last night my dad and I went to the homeless shelter to serve food, and I saw him there.
All those scars on his face make him look scary, don't they?
Yeah. My dad was talking about Jesus dying on the cross so our sins could be forgiven, and Frank started crying.
Crying? Why?
He said he had been in prison for armed robbery, had almost killed a guy, and was a no-good drunk. He didn't think God could ever forgive someone like him.
Wow! I hope you told him about Matthew in the Bible.
I was too scared of Frank to say anything. Besides, Matthew was a disciple of Jesus. Jesus wouldn't choose a bad person to be a disciple.
Susie, before Matthew was a follower of Jesus, he was a tax collector.
What's wrong with being a tax collector?
In Bible times, tax collectors were hated because they overtaxed the people and kept the extra money for themselves. They were stealing to get rich.
That's not right.
Jewish leaders thought tax collectors were so terrible that God would never forgive them. In fact, tax collectors weren't even allowed in the temple.
Wow, I never knew that.
Tax collectors were considered traitors, and the only friends they had were other tax collectors and the rejects.
That means Matthew must have been hated by a lot of people.
But look at what Jesus did. He asked Matthew to follow him, to be one of his 12 disciples.
Jesus asked Matthew to be his disciple, even though he knew Matthew was a robber and a traitor?
That's why Frank needs to hear the story of Matthew. When Jesus asked Matthew to follow him, he was showing that God forgives even the worst sinners.
Johnny, I'm going to start praying that Frank understands that God's forgiveness is big enough, even for him. Bye, kids.